Hi everyone, it's Miss Vargas coming at you from my home to yours, and today I'm going to teach you about how to make face masks from everyday items that you might have around your home. So remember, the CDC is publishing guidelines on how we can all stay safe and healthy, and their current guidelines are for people to stay home whenever they can, but when you do have to go outside, to make sure that you have a cloth covering around your nose and around your mouth. They are recommending for cloth coverings because they want to make sure that we save medical masks for our healthcare professionals, right, who are working so hard to keep us all safe. So you'll find lots of different tutorials online for how to sew or craft different face masks, but I wanted to show you how to do a couple of really easy ways to make them that don't involve sewing. So I'll show you two different methods. The first is called the handkerchief or bandana method, and then the second is called the old t-shirt method. So the first one, you can use a handkerchief, a bandana, or a scarf, and you will also need 2 hair ties. If you don't have hair ties but you have like an old pair of tights, you could also cut that up and use the elastic in the tights. So I'll demonstrate really quickly. So you have the handkerchief. You're going to fold it down on either side, right? So you kind of fold it like you would a letter into thirds, and then you will put one of your hair ties around one side. You'll put the other hair tie around the other side, and then you can even kind of loop in the other ends to fold it even more. That way you're adding more layers. And then when you put it around, and I'm just going to look in my mirror so I make sure I do it right. Voila, you have a mask. I'm going to take the mask off now so that you can hear me a little bit more. The really important thing is that the mask is covering your nose and it's covering your mouth, and that it fits snugly but that you're still able to breathe. The CDC also recommends that masks have multiple layers, so because you folded this so many times, you have different layers. Now I'll show you how to do this with an old t-shirt. It's recommended that the t-shirt be, that the fabric be as thick as possible. This is an old shirt that some of you might have seen me wearing at school. I noticed it was getting a little bit worn, so before the pandemic, I had been thinking about, maybe replacing it with another shirt. Now that we really need extra cloth, I'm going to cut it up to make a face mask out of it. You'll see that this fabric is pretty thin. So you would want to have multiple layers of fabric since it's a thinner fabric. Again, if you have a thicker fabric, you might not need as many layers. So the CDC does recommend that you have at least 2. There are a lot of different ways to make masks by cutting up old t-shirts. So if this method is not your favorite method, there are lots of other ones on the internet, but I'll show you one. So what you're going to do is you're going to use your t-shirt to cut a square. Some people do ovals. I think squares are easier to tie. You're going to cut a square that is big enough to go around your nose and your mouth. So you'll see here I have some sharp scissors, and I'm going to cut a square into my t-shirt. All right. So I cut that square, and then I want multiple layers, so I'm actually going to cut up my t-shirt into 4 squares, all of around the same size. So I'll use the bottom portion of my t-shirt to make the actual mask part. So this is my second square, and then I can use the other side of the bottom to make my third and my 4th square. To be about the same size, but it's okay if it's not exact, right? The important thing here is that we get coverage. So that's 3, and then here we have 4. So I'm going to layer the different squares one on top of the other, and now I'm going to cut straps, and you're actually going to use parts of the t-shirt to tie the mask around your face. So your strap should be pretty long, really the longer the better. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a thin piece out of this t-shirt. So I'll make it about 1 inch wide, and then I'll just cut and I'll make it really long, like almost more than the entire width of one side of your body. I found works pretty well. So I will cut this, and again we're going to want 4 straps. We're going to end up tying them on either side of the mask. So let me work on that. All right, so this is my first long strap. I'm going to take the edges of my mask and I'm going to tie the long strap around one of the corners. So secure it tightly. You're going to want to do 2 knots to make sure it's really well secured. All right, now I'm going to do 3 more ties. So I get all 3 corners of the mask and just keep up cutting up long, narrow strips of your t-shirt for these ties. So here I'll make the second tie for another corner. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect, it doesn't have to be perfectly even. The really important thing is that it ties around your head, right, to keep you safe and to keep the people around you safe as well. So this one I'm also going to grab another corner and I'm going to tie this around the other corner. I'm going to make a double knot here. All right, you see the mask is starting to take shape. Now I just have to put 2 other ties on the bottom. So I'll still get the t-shirt. You're still cutting fabric from your t-shirt for these, making another nice long strip. Make sure you don't cut your finger, safety first. And then you take another edge of your mask, tie that to the corner, and again use a double knot to secure it tightly. All right, so we're almost done. We're just gonna make the last strap. So making one last long strip from the bottom of your t-shirt fabric. I'm just going to even this out a little bit so it's not too thick. All right, and then I have the last corner of my mask. Again, I'm going to tie the long strip around the corner of the square, making sure I secure it very tightly, and then doing a double knot. All right, and then I'm going to look in the mirror to put this on. All right, and here you have it. I'm going to briefly take the mask off just so you can hear me. But remember that you want to tie one around the top of your head to keep it secure over your ears. You want to make sure that your nose and that your mouth are covered. And then you can also hide the little ties on the side so that way your eyes aren't getting hit by your mask. So let me take that off. Remember when you remove the masks, you definitely want to remove them in a way so that you're not accidentally touching your eyes with the mask. So remove the mask by untying the ties. So this is our tutorial on how to make your own face masks. Let me just untie this one. I hope that this was helpful. Again, there are lots of other tutorials on how to do it online. If you know how to sew, you can definitely sew them, but I just wanted to show that it's something accessible to everyone. And just make sure that you put these masks in the wash after you've used them outside. So I hope you have a wonderful day and take care, and I miss you all.